Deep within the damp, suffocating darkness of a subterranean cave, a massive beast slumbers upon a mountain of stolen gold. Its body is heavily armored with impenetrable reptilian scales. Leathery, bat-like wings are folded against its jagged spine. When provoked, it breathes a torrent of devastating fire, reducing kingdoms to ash. It is a creature of pure malice, greed, and chaos. To be a hero in this world is to pick up a sword, march into the darkness, and slay the beast. Now, cross the globe and look up into the clouds. High above the emerald mountains and winding rivers, a magnificent, serpentine creature glides effortlessly through the sky. It has no wings, yet it swims through the air as if it were water. Its scales shimmer like carp, and it carries the horns of a stag. It does not breathe fire, it brings the life-giving monsoon rains. It does not hoard gold, it chases the glowing pearl of cosmic wisdom. To be a hero in this world is to fall to your knees and revere the beast. Both of these entities are translated into the English language using the exact same word, dragon. Yet, they represent one of the most profound philosophical, theological, and psychological divides in human history. The dragon is the only mythological creature that appears independently in the lore of nearly every ancient civilization across the globe, from the misty fjords of Scandinavia to the river valleys of ancient China, from the plains of Mesoamerica to the deserts of the Middle East. However, the civilizations of the East and the West looked at the exact same imaginary giant reptile and came to two mutually exclusive conclusions. One civilization saw the ultimate manifestation of evil, a monster that must be conquered to establish civilization. The other saw the ultimate manifestation of the divine, a god that must be harmonized with to maintain cosmic balance. To understand why this massive divergence occurred, we cannot merely look at the myths themselves. We must dissect the geography, the theology, and the fundamental worldview of the empires that created them. The Western dragon was not born in Europe. Its earliest ancestor emerged in the cradle of civilization, the deserts of ancient Mesopotamia, between the Tigris and Euphrates rivers. In the Babylonian creation epic, known as the Enuma Elish, written nearly 4,000 years ago, the universe begins with a monstrous, primordial sea serpent named Tiamat. Tiamat represents the chaotic, untamed, terrifying power of the saltwater oceans. She is a creature of pure, destructive nature. To create the organized world, the storm god Marduk must engage in a cosmic battle. Marduk violently slaughters Tiamat, splits her massive reptilian body in half, and uses her corpse to construct the heavens and the earth. This mythological template is known by anthropologists as the Chaoskampf, the struggle against chaos. It became the foundational blueprint for the Western worldview. Order can only be established through the violent subjugation of wild nature. The hero must kill the serpent. We see this template repeated across the Mediterranean. In ancient Greece, the god Apollo must slay the monstrous serpent Python to establish the sacred oracle of Delphi. The king of the gods, Zeus, must hurl thunderbolts to defeat Typhon, a massive, fire-breathing, draconic titan with 100 serpent heads. But it was the rise of Christianity that transformed the Western dragon from a symbol of natural chaos into a symbol of absolute moral evil. The early Christian theologians inherited the serpentine monsters of the Greco-Roman and Jewish traditions and merged them into a singular, terrifying entity. In the book of Revelation, chapter 12, verse 9, the text explicitly identifies the beast, and the great dragon was cast out, that old serpent called the devil and Satan, which deceiveth the whole world. By the Middle Ages, the dragon was no longer just a dangerous animal. It was the physical incarnation of demonic corruption. This theological shift birthed the archetype of the holy dragon slayer, most famously embodied by Saint George. According to the Golden Legend, compiled in the 13th century, Saint George arrives in a pagan city, terrorized by a plague-bearing dragon that demands human sacrifice. George makes a pact with the citizens. He will kill the beast if they agree to convert to Christianity. He drives his lance into the dragon, saves the princess, and baptizes 15,000 people. In this framework, the dragon represents everything the medieval European mind feared: paganism, wilderness, plague, and heresy. The knight on the white horse represents the triumph of reason, civilization, and divine order. The Western hero does not negotiate with the dragon. The Western hero dominates it. As we move from Southern Europe into the cold, dense forests of Germanic and Norse mythology, the Western dragon acquires its most defining and fascinating psychological trait: hoarding. In the Norse saga of the Volsungs, we encounter Fafnir. Fafnir was not born a dragon. He was a dwarf, the son of a king. But Fafnir was overcome by an insatiable, violent greed. He murdered his own father to steal a massive treasure hoard, and he fled into the wilderness to guard it. Over time, his isolation, paranoia, and absolute obsession with his gold physically mutated him. His greed warped his body until he transformed into a massive, venomous, armored dragon, forever chained to the wealth he could not even spend. This is the psychological core of the Western dragon. We see it perfectly preserved centuries later in the Anglo-Saxon epic Beowulf and popularized in the modern era by J.R.R. Tolkien's Smaug. The Western dragon sits in a dark, subterranean cave on a mountain of gold and jewels. But philosophically, what does this hoarding represent? In the fragile agricultural economies of medieval Europe, wealth was meant to circulate. A king was supposed to be a ring giver, distributing gold to his warriors to build alliances and fund communities. The dragon represents the ultimate economic and moral sin: stagnant wealth. The dragon takes resources out of the world and buries them in the dark, serving no one, building nothing, entirely consumed by solitary greed. The dragon is the physical manifestation of the human ego, bloated and isolated. Therefore, when the Western hero slays the dragon, he is not merely killing an animal. He is liberating the hoarded wealth, returning resources to the community, and conquering the dark, selfish impulses of the human soul. Now, we must leave the dark caves of Europe and travel thousands of miles east to the massive river valleys of ancient China. Here, the mythological landscape undergoes a radical, absolute inversion. In the East, the dragon known in Mandarin as the Long is not a creature of the underworld. It is a creature of the heavens. It does not hoard gold. It does not breathe fire. It does not represent demonic evil. The Eastern dragon is the supreme symbol of auspicious power, cosmic balance, and life-giving reign. To understand the Eastern dragon, we must examine its anatomy. Unlike the Western dragon, which is essentially a giant, bat-winged dinosaur, the traditional Chinese dragon is a chimera, constructed from the parts of 9 entirely different animals. It has the head of a camel, the eyes of a demon, the horns of a stag, the ears of a cow, the neck of a snake, the belly of a clam, the scales of a carp, the claws of an eagle, and the paws of a tiger. It does not have wings, yet it flies through the sky through sheer mystical power. It is intimately associated with water. While the Western dragon slumbers in volcanoes and dry, dusty caverns, the Eastern dragon resides in the clouds, the rivers, and the deepest oceans. In Chinese mythology, the dragon kings of the 4 seas rule over all aquatic life and control the weather. Why did this magnificent creature become a god rather than a monster? The answer lies in the fundamental relationship between geography and civilization. Ancient European civilizations often emerged in fractured, heavily forested, and mountainous terrains where nature was a harsh adversary to be cleared, walled out, and defeated. Ancient Chinese civilization, however, was built along the banks of massive, volatile, incredibly powerful waterways, the Yellow River and the Yangtze River. These rivers were the absolute lifeblood of the empire. They provided the water for the vast rice paddies that fed millions, but they were also wildly unpredictable. A severe drought meant famine and mass death. A severe flood meant the destruction of entire cities. The people of ancient China recognized a profound truth. You cannot draw a sword and kill the Yellow River. You cannot put on a suit of armor and stab a monsoon. The forces of nature in the East were simply too massive to be conquered by individual human force. Therefore, the Eastern cosmological worldview, heavily shaped by Taoism and later Confucianism, developed a philosophy of harmony rather than conquest. Humans were not tasked with dominating nature. They were tasked with understanding its rhythms and aligning themselves with its flow. The dragon became the ultimate personification of this natural force. The dragon is the rainstorm. The dragon is the roaring river. Yes, it is terrifying. And yes, it is infinitely powerful. But it is also the source of all life. If you respect the dragon, if you honor the rivers and the seasons, the dragon brings the rains that sustain the empire. This philosophical divide is perfectly illustrated by comparing the heroes of the two cultures. We have seen how the Western hero, St. George, violently slaughters the beast to impose order. The defining mythological hero of ancient China is a figure known as Yu the Great. According to legend, a catastrophic, endless flood ravaged the world, destroying agriculture and drowning the people. The previous leaders tried to stop the flood by building massive dams and walls, trying to block the water with brute force. They failed, and the waters destroyed their walls. When Yu the Great took command, he realized that fighting the water was futile. Instead, he studied the natural flow of the earth. He spent 13 years dredging channels, carving out canals, and redirecting the massive floodwaters out into the sea. But Yu did not do this alone. In the mythology, he was assisted by a magnificent winged dragon named Yinglong. The dragon would drag its massive tail across the earth, carving the deep trenches that would become the new rivers, guiding the water to the ocean. In this story, there is no dragon slayer. There is a profound synergy between human ingenuity and the devastating power of nature. The hero works alongside the dragon. The chaos is not murdered. It is channeled, respected, and transformed into order. Because the Eastern dragon represented the divine power of the heavens, it inevitably became the exclusive symbol of the emperor. For over 2,000 years, the dragon was the emblem of imperial authority. The emperor sat on the dragon throne. His robes were embroidered with golden dragons. Specifically, the five-clawed dragon became a strictly restricted symbol. By imperial decree, only the emperor and his immediate family were permitted to wear the five-clawed dragon. Anyone else caught wearing it would face immediate execution. The emperor was believed to rule by the mandate of heaven. Just as the dragon maintained the balance of the rains and the rivers, the emperor was responsible for maintaining the moral and social balance of the human realm. The dragon did not represent the emperor's ability to wage violent war. It represented his alignment with the cosmic order. Instead of hoarding gold, the Eastern dragon is frequently depicted chasing or holding a flaming pearl. This pearl is not a measure of financial wealth. It is the pearl of wisdom, representing spiritual energy, enlightenment, and the pursuit of knowledge. While the Western dragon is corrupted by material greed, the Eastern dragon is eternally reaching for spiritual perfection. We are left with a fascinating anthropological mystery. If the East and the West had zero contact during the formative millennia of their mythologies, why did they both independently invent a massive, scaly, reptilian beast? In the year 2000, the anthropologist David E. Jones published a groundbreaking book titled An Instinct for Dragons. He proposed a biological and evolutionary explanation. Jones argued that humans, like all primates, evolved with deeply ingrained, instinctual fears of three specific predators that hunted our early ancestors in the trees and on the savannas: the snake, the eagle, and the large cat. Like the leopard, Jones hypothesized that the dragon is simply a composite image constructed by the human subconscious. It is the ultimate apex predator, combining the scaly body and venom of a snake, the wings and talons of an eagle, and the jaws and claws of a large cat. Our brains are hardwired to fear these specific traits. When ancient humans tried to imagine the most terrifying, powerful force in the universe, their subconscious automatically assembled these three predators into a single chimera, the dragon. Other historians argue for a more paleontological explanation. Throughout antiquity, humans in both Europe and Asia continuously unearthed massive, fossilized bones belonging to dinosaurs and prehistoric megafauna. Lacking modern science, an ancient farmer pulling a massive femur or a jaw full of dagger-like teeth from the soil would have no other framework but to imagine a giant, monstrous reptile. In China, dinosaur fossils were historically ground up into powders and sold in apothecaries as dragon bone medicine, believed to hold immense healing properties. Whether the dragon was born from evolutionary psychology or misinterpreted dinosaur bones, the biological origin is the same. The raw data of the monster is identical. It is the philosophical application that diverges so sharply. The dragon divide forces us to examine our own contemporary worldviews. We live in an era facing monumental, seemingly uncontrollable natural and technological forces. Climate shifts, artificial intelligence, global pandemics. When we encounter a massive, overwhelming power that threatens to disrupt our lives, which mythological framework do we instinctively reach for? Do we adopt the Western mindset, viewing the disruption as a hostile beast that must be conquered, slain, and brought to heel through brute force and technological weaponry? Do we see ourselves as the knight, isolated and tasked with dominating the chaotic environment? Or do we adopt the Eastern mindset, viewing the disruption as a massive shift in the cosmic weather, a force far too large to be killed? Do we instead seek to understand its currents, carve new channels for it to flow through, and find a way to harmonize our society with a power that cannot be defeated? A monster is never just a monster. It is a mirror. When a civilization invents a beast, they are drawing a portrait of their deepest anxieties and their highest ideals. The dragons we imagine reveal exactly what we think of the natural world, and more importantly, what we think of our own place within it. We are either the masters of the earth, destined to stand victorious over its slain body, or we are the students of the earth, destined to ride upon its back.